Good morning from Panhandle Outdoors, America's only daily outdoor TV show. Your source for fishing, hunting, and information for folks who enjoy the great outdoors. Now sit back, relax. It's Panhandle Outdoors.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to Panhandle Outdoors. I'm Winston Chester. I'm glad to hear this morning we have a great show lined up. All kind of good information for you, the outdoorsmen here in the Florida Panhandle. But first, let's do a weather brought to us by Hayden Technical Center at the corner of Baldwin and Highway 77. And we're going to get those folks on pretty soon and tell you about their fall schedule. It's going to be hot again today, up to about 92 here on the coast. Low of 81, and water temperature is still around 88 degrees. Folks, that is hot. The river reading is brought to us by Mountain Dew. Take it outside with Mountain Dew, especially this time of year. You want to cool down. Now, looking at Apalachicola at Bluntstown is at 5.7, and looking on the chart, it's got a slow drop to it, a good steady drop. That's good steady fishing on Apalachicola, all the tributaries. Looking at Choctahatchee at Caryville, we're looking at a 2.4, and it's almost just flat line right there, not much movement. You got a little bit of a drop to it. I rode across it yesterday. The Choctahatchee River is just beautiful, and I saw, you're not going to believe it, I was going across Highway 20 bridge and looked to my left, and a big old sturgeon had just jumped and was landing in the water, made a huge splash. So sturgeon are really jumping in the month of June along the Choctahatchee River. You want to just see a sight, just go park under the bridge and watch those sturgeon jump. It's fascinating. Looking at our marine forecast, north-northeast about 9. That's not as bad as it's been the last 2 weeks. So it's below, it's not in double digits, 9 miles an hour, and then switching out to the east later on this afternoon. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back, and welcome to our guest, no stranger here on Panhandle Outdoors, Dr. Jeremy Sunseri. Good morning.
Morning, Winston. Thanks for having me again. Always a pleasure being on the show. Love to come here and learn.
Okay, we got all kinds of things to talk about, and one thing, he's going to defend himself later on in the show about all this stuff he's been doing to my face and making me look this bad, but we're going to get that later. Let's go back. I was asking my guests since the hurricane when they come on, how did you do? And tell us in a capsule what all happened with the Sunseri family.
Yeah, well, like everybody else, we had our struggles. I think a lot of folks had it far worse than us. My business was ruined, and so we had to take a couple months, and I had to take everything from my business and put it in my house. My house did better than a lot of folks I know, and so we feel fortunate. I talk to a lot of folks and hear so many stories about how terrible their situation is, and we're all just trying to get through this. It seems like you turn around, you get one project done, and there's another one lingering. So it's nonstop, ongoing, and we're just fortunate to be here, and things are starting to slowly pick up, but it's been a rough go. It's been a long year. I feel like I've aged about 50 years this year.
Well, you don't look that way, but it was fascinating. You were able to keep some of your work going. You went up to Dothan to work some during that. We didn't have an office here, but you were able to work some in Dothan and back.
Yeah, we were very fortunate, and there was another physician up there that needed some temporary help, and right before the storm he had asked us, and I said, well, I'm pretty busy right now. I don't know that I can get up there and help. And after I thought about it, I thought, well, it's going to be a tough situation for him if he can't get some help. His work depends on it. And so I called him back. I said, all right, well, I can maybe do 1 day a week. And then the hurricane hit, and I said, how many days a week do you need me again? I could be up there 5 if you'd like. So, but we just felt fortunate to have work, as so many of us, went without work and had a hard time during the storm. So.
Yeah. And I know your office staff, a lot of them had some of the same things happen to them. It was tough on them.
Yeah, everybody that we, most folks, I guess, that we talked to had some struggle, whether it was home or work or something, but it's been hard on all of us. But a lot of my employees lost housing and had to move here and there. And one thing that we're facing now is the housing market has gone so crazy that I'm having a hard time keeping some of the employees just because of the expense for basic housing. So I've lost a couple of employees recently because of the cost of living is just getting high. So
you heard that all over the Panhandle from anybody that has any kind of businesses. The rent and everything, cost of living, it's sad.
It's making it tough. That's for sure.
It's tough for everybody, and just can't make a living. But I had to go by and see the other day, give them a checkup and all, and we're going to talk about that later. But some of your office staff I've known a good while, and they're just as friendly and happy as ever, though. You wouldn't think anything happened to them.
Yeah,
That office staff is something you have.
I am very, very blessed, I'll tell you that much. And I like to, you know, the culture of our office is just try to be good to people and let the rest happen as it will. And I think whenever we interview and find folks who genuinely like people and like what they do, it just makes your life so much easier if you enjoy what you're doing. And we try to not have try to listen to people and try to take time. And dermatology is a field that you can rush through. You can see a lot of patients. And so we always just try to remind ourselves, hey, let's stop and smell the roses, so to speak. And a lot of my staff are, they like people. They genuinely love what they do. And so those are the kind of people I say, yeah, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
And they can't
stay
hide,
forever.
Yeah, exactly right. And you can't hide that feeling if you like people and you walk in there, it's almost like a family atmosphere, and they want to talk to you and what's been going on. And you go to some places, number 2, number 6, come on in and out. But
yeah.
I just want to say that that office staff and everybody there are just so hospitable and just a lot enjoyable.
I
the
appreciate that.
only part I don't enjoy when you inflict pain on all of us, but that's not bad though. I tell you what, we've got some fishing pictures. We're going to show some fishing pictures. Let's take a break now and come back and look at some of these fishing pictures from Dr. Sunseri and his family. All right, welcome back here with Dr. Jeremy Sunseri with Sun Dermatology, one of our loyal supporters, been with us a long time, and an avid outdoorsman himself. We're talking about our bucket list on fishing and all, and you've gotten 1 or 2, but we still got a couple more to get.
A long ways to go.
And you're going to fish Pensacola this weekend with some friends.
Yeah, we're going to go fish, and we need lots of good luck, and
yeah,
it'll be an adventure, no doubt.
That would be an adventure, Pensacola billfish. But look, speaking of fishing, check this out. Tell us about this first picture right here, Jeremy.
So I got tasked with watching the boys for a few hours the other night, and what else to do but go fish. So my sons and I went out to the dock and used a popping cork and some shrimp. And my son, in this picture, he's been working on casting, so he doesn't want me to touch it. He wants to do the whole thing. And so he threw this out and caught that, reeled it in, did the whole thing top to bottom, and was just beaming with pride.
He's happy. He's happy. All right.
And this is a photo of both my sons, the oldest, and Colton and Caden. They're the young. He's 3, and he caught that little speckled trout that's, of course, Big Brother's holding for him. He's still not too keen on holding those things. After I showed him the teeth, he kept his distance.
but they want to do it themselves.
Oh, man.
Let me do it.
He just loves it. They love it.
That is great.
And there's another picture of one of it. That was another night there where he'd caught a speck there. The funny thing is, boy, I was questioning my sanity as I was in there with my 2 boys trying to fish with them at 5 and 3 years old, because no sooner than I get one baited up, I have to go untangle the other one and then go back to the other one and help him get baited. Yeah. And I thought, what am I doing here? I should do one at a time. But anyway,
I can say this from experience. Enjoy and cherish those times, because they're going to get by pretty fast. So that's awesome. Agree. That's a great thing. Babysitting, when you're babysitting, that's right. pretty strong too. All right, now. Office, tell us about this trip. Office, when I was in there, y'all were telling me you had a trip coming up.
Yeah.
And this was it.
Yeah, so one of the things that I feel like your office environment's important, and you want just like you want happy patients, you want happy employees, and so we have a few different events. We try to get out and do something together once a month or something like that. And so because I love fishing, I thought, hey, what better thing than to do a charter trip during snapper season. So I had and now keep in mind I work with a lot of ladies there, and we put the sign-up sheet, and as it got closer and closer, the numbers were pretty high at first, then dwindled and dwindled and dwindled. And they said, we don't want to go out and get sick. We're going to get sicker than a dog. I said, no, you will be fine. and everybody except for one and myself got sick, and
Oh, no.
they hate me. No, but we had a great trip. It was we caught some great fish, and once we got to fishing, everybody was enjoying themselves. But got into the snapper, and Captain Benji put us on a great spot as usual, and we just had fun slaying some groupers. We got one nice grouper.
That was a nice grouper.
Some a couple of snapper.
A big snapper.
Yeah, and some beeliners.
A bunch of beeliners. I just love that bright red color of the beeliners.
I did get me a scamp, and that's always delicious to eat. But we had a fun trip. We had a great trip.
What a great thing to do with the office.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Now this one here. Now this is another location. Tell us where you are here.
Well, this is in St. Lucia. So my wife and I had our 15th wedding anniversary, and she wanted to go someplace nice, and I looked at someplace nice and made sure that there was a good fishing spot. And I said, okay, one thing we got to do together, because we don't have the opportunity, is go fishing one day. So she grudgingly agreed, and got really sick and had a medication interaction and with the scopolamine patch. And but anyhow, we went out, and boy, she was my good luck charm, because I ended up catching this marlin, and then which was a blast, but wore me out. And then we caught this.
Oh, look at that picture there, man.
Yeah, it was fun. I'll tell you what, it was an adrenaline.
How big was he, you think?
He was probably around 400 pounds, somewhere in that range.
Now this is a bull dolphin here. Tell us about this one.
So I caught this just right before that marlin, and so I was wore out, and I was thinking to myself, I'm ready to go back and hang up my fishing spurs for the day, because we had caught a few smaller mahi, and we ended up hooking into that guy, and oh man, he was a fight and wore me out. And I thought, man, it doesn't look that big, but they are hard fighting. So got him in the boat, and then a few minutes later, as I was still sweating and recovering from catching him, the marlin, we heard that.
So you caught this one first, and then you caught the
dolphin,
and
then caught that one second, and I was done.
That's pretty strong. That's pretty strong.
It was a great day. That's why I said I'm trying to bring my wife everywhere. She's good luck.
That's good. So I love to see, even since the hurricane, you've been doing some strong fishing then.
Trying. It's kind of been my release. I feel like there's been so much stress in everybody's life. I'm trying to just find something where we can get out, and for me that's fishing, and relieve some of that stress, and just get away from it all, and try to think about something besides where to find a contractor to do your next project, or one of these things. So
I know people maybe get tired of us harping on it, but we just keep talking about it because it is still a problem.
It really is,
And you see it in your profession.
It impacts so many. I still try to ask every patient that I haven't seen since the storm how they're doing. So many people are still living the tarp life, and living in trailers, or still trying to get sheetrock hung, and it's the chronic just lasts on and on and on, and that's what really wears you out, I think. And I feel like it impacts every aspect. It impacts our health. I've seen so many skin conditions that are worsened by some facet of the storm, and it impacts all of us so much here, from work to being able to find employees and housing, and just the basics of life that you need has been impacted in this area, and that's why we can't stop talking about it.
Exactly. I'm so glad you gave input from your side, because that's interesting. In fact, I was telling before the show, I had a friend posted on Facebook last night. It just hit me like a ton of bricks. And I've known she and her husband and the kids for a long time. And she just said, does anyone have a window air conditioner I can borrow? And that hit me like a ton of bricks. As hot as it has been, and here's this family for 8.5 months without, I called her up. I was gonna go buy her one. She wouldn't let me. But we gotta help people out. You're right. It affects all kind of the family relationships.
Absolutely.
It's hard. It's hard on those kids too.
It is for sure.
All right, we're gonna take a final break and come back with some good news from Dr. Sunseri. All right, welcome back. Got all kinds of stuff to talk about. First, I always want to, on this segment, look at our fishing game times brought to us by Blue Water Outriggers in Port St. Joe. Looking at our times today, 8:20 to 10:20 this morning, and this evening from 8:43 to 10:43. Some breaking news I saw last night. The GMC Sierra pickup truck has been won on the tagged redfish tournament. It was actually won down in South Florida. I'll tell you the details tomorrow, but a guy won it fishing out of a kayak. They caught a tagged redfish in his first choice, but that still leaves about 5 $40,000 to $50,000 boats, contenders and all that, so you can still win. But also the tagged fish, we caught them in Fort Walton Beach. We talked about that, but we'll talk about that in more detail tomorrow, but it has happened. Now, we'll talk about Dr. Sincere. We always talk about protection, but before we get into that, I don't know if y'all can see all this stuff that Dr. Sincere done to me. My face is breaking out. It looks like I'm going to be in a horror movie or something if you could look up close. And I walk in a restaurant, people look at me, and I said, Dr. Jeremy Sincere did this. Now tell us what happened. No, I'm just kidding. All right.
Well, one of the less fun things to do in my job is to torture people. And I'm sort of teasing about that, but it's not fun. And there's a lot of different ways that you can torture somebody if you're a dermatologist. But really what happens is as the skin starts to get a lot of sun damage and it gets kind of thick and scaly, and you can feel those little thick and scaly spots. And as you, the risk is that those turn into squamous cell skin cancers, and once they start to get big, they're much more difficult to treat, and we have to cut them out as opposed to doing something topical. So you can do different topical things. You can freeze them, which a lot of folks have had before, and we do that sometimes. You can put a chemical burn on them. But one nice thing to do, there's a couple of different creams out there that you can put on. If you think, men are not very good about putting on cream. No. And especially if that cream turns their face into hamburger. And so it's a difficult and long conversation to have. But when you have a Boy Scout like Winston here and you know that they'll get the job done, we can do this topical cream, and it reduces those precancers, or actinic keratoses is the fancy name for them, but it reduces those significantly. And so some people that spend a lot of time out in the sun, a lot of fishermen, we just, do every year or every couple of years, we'll do some kind of a peel like that, and it reduces the amount of skin cancers that develop down the road significantly. And so it's an ounce of a pound of prevention. Yeah,
I did my second. I'm in my second. Yeah. I'm in my second week of it. I got another week or two, whatever, and I'm coming back to see you. But it just put it on and everything, and it really is fascinating how it starts bringing that out if you look at it close.
Yeah, and one thing you'll notice is the areas that you have more sun damage is the area that is reacting more.
And up in here.
And so it's fascinating to see.
It really
how
is.
The science behind it's fascinating too.
I want to encourage you. You still taking new patients? You still have them?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I want to, all of y'all, all of us outdoorsmen, we got to do this. It's as simple as that. You just got to do it. And if you haven't done it yet, go see them and the staff. And always to prevent it. And I know we're talking about this. This is one I use. This actually, and I wish I'd used this when I was in my teens and 20s. I didn't know. We didn't have them.
Yeah.
Okay.
No doubt.
So anyway, tell us about these and all. All right.
Well, of course, as a dermatologist, you got to talk about sunscreen, and I always like to joke and say, it's not, you don't have to brush your teeth, but you oughta. And sunscreen's the same way. You don't have to wear sunscreen, but you oughta, especially if you're gonna be outdoors for any extended period of time. And put it in your bathroom next to your toothbrush so you can put them both on at the same time. But again, men are not good about putting on creams or lotions or anything like that. And so that's why I love these buffs. They're, you can throw it on the boat or whatever in your tackle box, and you can always have it. And especially during those peak sun hours, wear that. And another thing I like to tell folks is cover up your nose and your ears, if nothing else, because those are the things that are hard to do surgery on, and it's high-priced real estate. There's not a lot of skin there to do reconstruction after we remove it surgically. So I always say, hey, if you at least cover those areas up, and that's, these buffs do a great job at covering them up. There's all kinds of different kinds out there, and you can get various patterns and whatnot, of course. They also make a sleeve, which I think is kind of handy if you, so you can take this off or on or slide it up or down. And pretty soon, Winston, I'm going to have some of these made at Sun Dermatology, and I don't know if we'll then give them away or charge them at cost or whatever, but
Awesome.
we're going to have
That's
some Sun Dermatology buffs
Yeah, because
and
they
some
get all over
sleeves.
the
And
arm.
yeah, but you know, less sun exposure, the less chance of skin cancer, and especially if you're fair skinned and you spend a lot of time outdoors.
And your hats. You
And
always talk
hats,
about
yeah.
your hats,
So, you know, historically, I like to go with the cowboy hat.
There you go.
It does a good job covering your ears for the most part. But recently, I just got one of these fishing hats that you're seeing more and more of. But man, this thing gets some pretty good coverage.
Oh,
Heck,
yeah.
you can't even see me.
Yeah, I like that.
So, you know, these are some easy things, basic stuff that you can do to minimize your sun exposure. Now, I do want to say, even if you're wearing that hat, you still get a lot of reflection off the water, and so it's still important to cover up your face and everything else. Do the best you can. I'm a realist, you know, I always say, so I understand it's hard to do, and we're not good at that kind of stuff, but I promise you, it'll be much, you know, you can replace teeth, you can get dentures, but I, as to date, don't have a way to replace your skin. So just like brushing your teeth, do it. It's just like changing.
Run by and get checked.
Yeah.
Run by and get checked. We're going to hey, I got a buff right here, brand new. We're going to give it away. Just pick out, draw one name, Jeremy. We're going to give somebody a free one, okay? Because we want you to be safe. And that winner is going to be Nita Ivy from Sandy Creek. Nita, there you go. And ladies can wear these too, right?
Oh yeah,
And, They're good about putting stuff on and everything.
They're sure better than men, but
They are.
but this is still helpful, you know. Whether even if you're putting sunscreen on, it's good to have that.
Okay, we're about to run out of time. I tell you, time's gonna fly. And,
Always does.
Good luck on your trip, that fishing trip this weekend.
Thank you.
And
I appreciate it.
We appreciate what you do for all your people, your patients and all. I know. And y'all run by and see him, call him. He's been a great sponsor, but he's a fine man, family man, runs a professional office, and they all love you up there. So we appreciate you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate coming on always.
All
Thank
right.
you much.
Folks, we always, again, appreciate y'all watching Panhandle Outdoors and the viewership so much. I want to say a good morning to Frank Davis over there at Choctaw Bay. Ran in at Nick's restaurant yesterday. Glad you watched the show. Y'all have a great day, and God bless.
Thanks for watching America's only daily outdoor TV show, Panhandle Outdoors with Winston Chester, featuring hunting, fishing, and other activities and information to help you enjoy the great outdoors. Join us next time for Panhandle Outdoors.